device. If you can't hear me, it still makes. We're gonna try it again. Third time's the charm. Hopefully it's better now. Fingers crossed. It's better. Hello, I'm back. It's good now for now. Wait, hang on. I'm gonna move quickly. Nothing's going on. Let's hope. Let's hope. Okay. All right. Yay. All right. I unplugged it and I closed Whatnot and then I reopened Whatnot. So hopefully it's okay. Hi everybody, welcome in. Happy Tuesday. Normally I'm not on a Tuesday, but your girl couldn't look at a calendar properly when she set up this show. So I put it on a Tuesday and so I wasn't going to move it. I'm just leaving it cuz this is my evening show, special Tuesday night edition. We're talking only about shipping tonight. So if you have any questions that are related to anything else, Whatnot, I promise I will try to answer it if we get time, but I'm always on Monday through Saturday. First thing in the morning, I am on. You can come in and ask me any questions. You cannot drop off Chit Chats packages to Canada Post. No, you have to drop a Chit Chats, even if it's got a Canada Post label on it. If it's a Chit Chats generated label, it must be dropped off at Chit Chats. Do not take it to Canada Post. Drop it off at Chit Chat's location. Thank you for asking that. So we're getting straight into it. Okay, so I want to kind of start at the beginning and work our way down. So I'm going to start with the very first thing that's important with shipping. It was yes, you're very special. Welcome in MHZS, and feel free to share your shows and tell us about what you sell. I may not. Yes, or you can drop it off at the Maritime Bus Company on the East Coast, but it will cost you money to drop off on the East Coast. So just be aware of that. You have to consolidate your box. I'll talk about that in a bit. I'll talk about Chit Chats. We're going to talk about Canadian things. We're going to talk about just general shipping things. And then I will get into the Canadian things too. If you're an American in the room, stick around. Most of what I'm going to talk about tonight is relatable to you. Every once in a while, I'm going to get diverted into some Canadian questions. But if you look in my show notes, I also have recommendations for who you should be following and learning from a U.S. shipping perspective, because things are different between our two countries, more than just the fact that we're two different countries. So there are some differences in our shipping, but for Canadians, it's fairly simple. There's just a little bit of quirks, but nothing that we can't handle, right? So I wanted to, if you haven't had a chance, there is this great shipping 101 guide that Whatnot created a few months ago. If you go into my show notes, there is the link that you can copy and then put into any browser. It's whatnot.info/shipping 101, all lowercase. So whatnot.info, shipping 101, all lowercase, and it will come up with this PDF file. It will download this PDF file for you. It's really helpful to have kind of with you to give you as a reminder. Also, since there's already 13 of us in the room, shall we start with a giveaway? Should we do a giveaway? I assume yes. I assume yes. So, okay. I'm going to start with a giveaway actually of some felted soap. So this is local soap. This is local felted soap. So this is wool and from actual it's all Canadian. The felted soap, everything in here is Canadian. I guess technically, if there's coconut oil and palm oil, that's been imported. And probably the olive oil too. Anyways, made in Canada. Made in Canada, just around the corner for me, just down the street. And Fairbid, if someone wouldn't mind tagging Fairbid, Fairbid. Fairbid is the one that donated for this to be our first giveaway. So thank you to Fairbid. So get in on the giveaway. It's totally free. Thank you, Border City Thrifts. How are you doing tonight? I'm going to moderate you. I'm allowed to moderate. It smells really nice. It's really nice. Thank you, Fairbid. Thank you, everybody, for tagging Fairbid. Hi, Pickles. So, hi, everyone. I'm sorry. I'm not going to be doing what Ivor calls the polka dot door thing, where I read every single thing that comes in front of my face. Yes, the island does not have chit chats. You can, so the island does not have chit chats. However, if you talk to Vintiquity, every once in a while she'll do a chit chat show and she will consolidate her boxes and get them picked up, because there is a pickup service that you can organize as well. It does cost some money, but if you're doing a big show and you want to use chit chats, Chit Chats is now partnering with Canada Post. Chit Chats is already using Canada Post, so I don't know how they're already using Canada Post. Anyways, all right, Chit Chats is partnered with Whatnot, which is exciting. All right, so first and foremost, step one of setting up your show and making sure that shipping is going to be successful is doing your pre-show setup. So if you're a Canadian seller, your pre-show setup is different from a US seller in that we don't have as many options. But step one is, are you going to offer free local pickup? If you want to be able to offer free local pickup, and my only warning about free local pickup is to make sure that it's in a safe location. So if you're female or from a marginalized community, or you just don't want people coming to your house, pick a location that's close enough to you that it's convenient for you, central and easy for other people to find, and somewhat public. So some people use police stations, post office. My choice for mine personally is the post office or the antique market that's now open 7 days a week. So it makes my life a lot easier for doing pickups there, because they're like less than a minute from my house. So it's close for me to just run down and meet somebody. You want to make sure that if you do free local pickup, that you're clear to people that they need to come within 7 to 9 days to pick up the item. And don't bend over backwards, because once you start bending over backwards of like rearranging your schedule for someone to do a pickup, they just, next thing you know, they want to have lunch with you, and then they want to hang out with you, and that takes up a lot of your time. So be very clear about your time availability, and unless you do want to meet with someone, and then that's different. If you want to meet up with someone, great. I often will meet up with my local pickup people, because they're coming from out of town to do the local pickup. Get in on the giveaway. It's for felted soap from 2 Acres, our 2 Acres farm, which is just 15 minutes south of me. So it's a locally made, handmade soap product. It's felted soap. It sounds weird. It's basically like a felt sponge. So you wash yourself and it's full of soap. Okay. So that's first and foremost. Are you going to do free local pickup? And if you want to, just make sure that you think about, is it in a safe location? Do I really want people coming to my home, etc.? The other thing is you need to select which, if you're a Canadian seller, you have to pick which is going to be your shipping provider. Are you going to use Canada Post, or are you going to use Chit Chats? Now, it is important that you go and read up the frequently asked questions on Chit Chats by going to help.whatnot.com. And I forgot to actually put, can I, hang on. I said I was going to do this tonight. So here we go. Let me see if I can write it backwards. Am I right? Help. Help. Wait. The pen is starting to run out. Yeah, no, this isn't going to work. Thank you, Border City. Whatnot. What? Not. Okay. .com. Okay. It didn't write as well as I thought. Anyways, help.whatnot.com. That's what it says on my forehead for the rest of the night. Help.whatnot.com. It didn't work out as well as I thought it would. So help.whatnot.com. Or did I just write that backwards for no particular reason and it didn't need to be written backwards? Is it now forwards? I don't know. Yeah, Melody, Chit Chats has always used Canada Post, so that's not new. That's normal. Okay, so Peacock's Jewelry says that Vintiquity uses, who's going to get the first giveaway? See, Dunlop, congratulations, that's coming to you. Yay! Yeah, so there are a lot of people who use free pickup. That is just isn't going to work, is it? Okay, it just didn't work. So we're just going to pretend it's not there. All right. So, so you want to decide whether or not you're going to use Chit Chats or you're going to use Canada Post. Make sure you go to help.whatnot.com. There is no Chit Chats in Newfoundland. That's right. Go to help.whatnot.com and you want to look at the search for Chit Chats, and it's going to give you all the details. One of the things you also need to know about before you pick Chit Chats is, one, do I have a location that's close to me where I can drop off conveniently? My location is about 35 minutes away from me, so it's not perfectly convenient. So I did switch back to Canada Post. I might go back to Chit Chats. I haven't decided. So, but I know a lot of my buyers happen to live in rural and remote areas. And so thank you, Border City Thrifts, rural and remote areas. And so Canada Post is actually cheaper because it's like with Chit Chats, if you live in a rural or remote area in Canada, Chit Chats is going to use Canada Post to deliver the package, and it takes longer to get to people because it goes to the Chit Chats drop off. Then it goes to, in my case in Ontario, Burlington, Ontario. Then from Burlington, Ontario Chit Chats, they then drop it off at a Canada Post location, and then it goes to wherever it's destined. Whereas if I just drop it off at my local post office, it's going to go straight into the Canada Post system right away. And it is slightly more expensive if you live in a rural and remote area. So, so Chit Chats is great, and I highly recommend that if you live close by to a Chit Chats location, that you utilize it, because you're going to get definitely, there's going to be a decrease for most of your buyers. There's going to be a decrease in their cost for shipping. However, if Chit Chat's location is not convenient for you, and it's going to mean that you're not going to be able to drop off your packages within that 2-day window. Hello, Awesome Finds. Within that 2-day window, definitely consider Canada Post instead. But read the FAQ, because there's other things too with Chit Chats. For example, there are certain items that you cannot ship with Chit Chats to the United States, which means, and you can't say, I'm going to sell this candy bar, but I'm not going to sell it to anybody who's in the States because I'm using Chit Chats. You can't do that. So when I was using Chit Chats, I took all of the things that Chit Chats prohibits from being sold across the border, shipped across the border. I took those out of my my inventory so that I wouldn't accidentally sell them, because I did at the beginning. I screwed up. So things like food, anything that goes into your mouth, toothpaste, toothbrushes, there's a whole list of things that they do not allow to go across the border. And it's all based on the fact that Chit Chat uses a system of delivery to the United States where they put all of your boxes in with everybody else's boxes going to the States. They drive them to the border. There's a big manifest that's handed over at the border to declare that this stuff is coming into the United States. They're using the de minimis exemption clause in the US government's tariffs and duties. There's a de minimis exemption. That's what they're utilizing. So that's why everything has to be under $800 in the package. And then they're dropping it off at a USPS location on the other side of the border. So they're saving some money, but there are extra steps involved. And because of this manifest and them driving across the border. They don't want anything to slow them down. Food would slow them down. So if you're going to use Chit Chats, just make sure that you read all of the FAQ and go and read all the allowed items that there are for Chit Chats and what items are prohibited in Chit Chats. Well, it's more the prohibited items that you have to read. So that's your first and foremost. If you're a Canadian seller, you need to look at what do I want to offer free pickup? And am I going to use Chit Chats or am I going to use Canada Post? And then once you figure that out, the rest is based on how you create your listings. So we're actually going to play Let's Create a Listing game. So I'm going to start off with something normal, relatively normal for me. So if you sell the same sort of thing over and over again, say you're in a cards category and you either sell booster packs or you sell individual cards. Shipping for you is going to be a breeze because all your items are small, they're easy to package up, and they'll go into a small box. So it's easy peasy, cheesy wheezy. What you need to do is make sure that when you're weighing your item, you think about, you have to think about first and foremost, how much does this weigh on its own? And then how much is it going to weigh once you have packaged it up? So even with cards, so say this was instead of this being animal jokes, say this was a pack of sports cards, right? I weigh this. It weighs 3.3 ounces as is. So we're pretending this is sports cards and not animal jokes. Okay, so pretend this is sports cards. It weighs 3.3 ounces on its own. I still need to box this up and protect it, especially if someone has bought this because they want the whole box the way it is, right? So you're going to wrap this up probably in some tissue paper or paper to protect it on its strip, and then you're going to put it into a small box. So you're probably going to add another at least ounce to ounce and a half or more onto this, depending on the weight of your box. You could put this into a bubble mailer if you wanted to with some protection, but it would still add another ounce onto the weight after you add your, your card, a thank you note, and the packing slip, and the label on top. Even the label on top weighs something. So we need to add at least another ounce onto this. So even though this is 3.3 ounces, I'm going to put this into the 4 to 7 ounce category, because by the time this is wrapped up, even though it's 3.3 ounces now, by the time it's wrapped up, it is going to be in the 4 to 7 ounce category. So there's an example. Another example is if you sell breakables, like we have this lovely bell that is going to make a lot of noise every time I move it. Okay, so this lovely bell, she weighs 9.1 ounces, but we need to wrap her up very carefully. She's breakable. She's got wings that can be broken. So she's going to have to get tissue paper and then bubble wrap and then paper. And then she's going to have to go into a sturdy box. And then in addition to that, there's going to be more paper around her, plus the label, plus the packing tape, plus. So I said she is 9 to 1 ounces. So would I put her in 8 to 11 ounces, or would I put her higher than that? I would put her higher than that. So I would actually put her in 1 to 2 pounds to be on the safe side, because of how much, because of her wings and her little instrument, everything. I'm going to have to be super careful with her to make sure that she arrives in one piece. So I would put this in 1 to 2 pounds. You could go down to 12 to 15 ounces, but I would say for the difference in price between 12 to 15 ounces and 1 to 2 pounds for your customer in shipping costs, it is negligible compared to the effort you're going to have to put in to try and make this work in 12 to 15 ounces boxed up. So again, she is 9.1 ounces, but by the time she gets wrapped up, I'm going to put this in 1 to 2 pounds. So there's an example. So anytime, yes, you still have 5 free adjustments. So you have 5 free mistakes every week that resets basically on Sunday. So what if I have something now? Again, if you sell like clothing, it's pretty simple, right? You're only going to add a little bit more on, but some people will sell in clothing and they will weigh one t-shirt and they'll assume that all the other t-shirts that they have from different manufacturers are going to weigh the same amount. Weigh your items, because you will be surprised from one manufacturer to another how much difference in weight different materials can have. And so you assume that that t-shirt is only going to weigh 8 to 11 ounces, and then you put it on the scale and you realize you're more like 12 to 15. You want to make sure that you are above your weight, not below your weight, when you are adding your items. So let's do something that needs a custom shipping profile. Hello, puppy. Oh my gosh. Okay, so this Puppers, I haven't figured out which company made him yet. I'm still trying to figure out which company made him. Anyways, this Puppers, I know, doesn't he look like it? We can all make guesses on what we think. So this little Puppers, we're going to weigh him and see. He is going to have to get a custom shipping profile, and I'm going to tell you why. There's a number of reasons. First of all, he is 63.2 ounces. So he is just under 4 pounds. It's, I think it's meant to be like a trinket dish, or actually, I think it's meant to be a trinket dish, not an ashtray, because it doesn't have the obvious spots, but it is definitely, it's got that fluted thing going on. Loo, echo. It's echoey in there. I know, you're very good. It's amazing. So this is almost 4 pounds. So this Puppers is big too. So hang on. So we're going to measure him. Now, I have a rule of thumb, or just a rule. It's not a rule of thumb, because a rule of thumb means something totally slightly different. Okay, so he is 15 inches high. Now, because he's big, and also because he's precious, I want to put him in a box all on his own. If somebody wants to buy this off me, it's a rare piece. So if somebody wants to buy this off me, he's going to have to go in a custom shipping profile. And I'm going to show you how to do that. So we have to remember 15 inches. 15 inches. So that's the first number. 15. Oh, man. Me writing on my forehead did nothing good for this poor Sharpie. Emergency. Okay, someone's going to have to remember. 50. Oh, there it goes. Okay, it's happy again. 15 inches. That's the first number. The next I need to measure is the width. The next, so 9 inches is the next number, because we're doing the height and the width and the depth. And then his final number for this Puppers is going to be 7 inches. So what I always do is I add on 6 inches to each number. Why is that? Because I want 3 inches of buffer between the actual item and the side of the box on every side. So if I add 6 inches to each number, that gives me 3 inches of room. So 15 becomes 21. Yes. 9 becomes 15. And 7 gets 6. That becomes 13. So now that's my new box number. I will make a Franken box for this if it gets purchased. If it got purchased, I would make a Franken box for this. Shipping supplies, what's up? So he is already, yeah, it's much easier to do smaller items, but so he is already 15 inches by 9 inches by 7 inches. I'm going to put him into a box, and I'm going to give him 6 inches of space. So 3 inches on either side, which gives me enough for the bubble wrap and the extras. And that will safely get him to his destination. But I'm going to have to add weight to this as well. So everything's going good. Shipping Supplies is a new seller in the States, out of Colorado, who will be selling shipping supplies, which is very exciting. So we've got our 21 by 15 by 13. So we are going to create a custom shipping profile for this boy. All right. So I'm going to show you how to do that. All right, here we go. We got my phone. You want to see me create a Frankenbox? I am going to do a box resizing. I am going to get to that point too. All right, so we go to set up a new item. So here we go. We're going to create a quality listing. I'm going to start by I'm going to just take a picture of his face. There we go. This is not professionally done at all. Okay, and then we are going to put him into Vintage Decor. And we're going to call him Test Puppy because we're doing a test. Okay, and his description is 15 inches tall, yada, yada. His condition is actually pre-owned and damaged. Hi, Country Roads, take me home. Hello, hello. We are, okay, it's 8:10, so 5 more minutes. I'm going to run the first giveaway for a Whatnot pennant. So if you know friends who want a Whatnot pennant, get them in, or maybe you don't want them to get in on the giveaway, so you have more likelihood of winning, but we're going to do that in 5 minutes. All right. So I got my starting bid is going to be, we're going to say 50 because, and let's see. Now we get to the shipping profile part, and this is where it gets fun, okay? You've done your picture, you've done your description, you've done all of that, yada, yada, yada. You get to the shipping profile. Get to the shipping profile. At the very top, see how I've got tons of different custom shipping profiles? Whatnot Lewis is shaking his head right now. Hit custom, okay? And now we're going to give it a name. We're going to call it Test Puppy so that I know which one to delete later when I get around to deleting profiles. Okay, so now his weight. He is currently 4 pounds. It's going to be, I think, to be on the safe side, I'm going to need at least 2.5 pounds, maybe 3, because I'm going to have a pretty heavy duty box for this guy to survive. This is what we are pretending that we're going to sell and ship. So I'm going to actually put it in at 7 pounds. And that is pounds. So Test Puppy is at 7 pounds. And then here's the important part. Right here, it says number. It says set the maximum number of items put into one package. In this case, the maximum number of items is just this puppy. So 1. Now, this is really the only time I use custom shipping profiles now, is when I'm shipping something all on its own. Magical A, what's up? Everyone follow Magical A, one of the OG sellers on Whatnot Canada. Hello, hello. Okay, so first and foremost, we go back to my numbers that I had written down. Again, I'm adding 3 inches on to every 6 inches onto every dimension so that I have 3 inches all around in the on my package. So 21 inches by 15 inches by 13 inches. And I'm going to put that as inches. Okay. So that's what I do. 21 by 15 by 13 inches. That's going to be a special box. I will make a special box for him. And then I don't have to set a fixed weight for additional items. I don't need to do that. If you watch one of my shows from last week, I did walk through how to do a custom shipping profile for like a poster show, a show where you're doing posters. But today we're just doing a custom shipping profile for this begging puppy. Okay, so now we've created a custom shipping profile. So if somebody buys this, they're going to pay for this special box for this item. And then we're going to just hit publish. Doodle-doo, doodle-doo. We just wait. Spinning thing of death. There we go. Okay. So how much is the puppy going to weigh? Does that say teat puppy? Please hold while I just edit that. It does say teat puppy. That's not what I meant. Someone's going to screenshot that. Oh, safe changes. Okay. I edited it. I'm sorry. I couldn't help it, Libby's. I would not be able to concentrate on talking to you if I didn't fix that. Okay. So the test puppy is now up. Heidi's Finds, thank you for the raid, everyone. Follow Heidi's Finds. Welcome in, Heidi. I know, Auto Carrot at its best, Retro City. So the test puppy now has his own shipping profile. You got it. You got it. So, everyone, tell me what it says for shipping for this special box that's just for Test Puppy. How much are we looking at? I'm curious with Canada Post. 23, 40, 33, 51, 31, 32. These are all in Canadian dollars. Fairbid, what's up? We did your first giveaway. 1242, 1242. Ooh. 2822, 1242. 1242 is not too shabby, is it? So that's Ontario, basically. So within Ontario, outside of Ontario. Yeah. Mr. Corn Dog. Look, I got Mr. Dog, which was also Teat Puppy for a minute, but now he's Test Puppy. So there you go. There's a custom shipping profile. Now, if the shipping is too high for somebody, as far as I'm concerned, tough TDs, because it needs to ship safely. So you want to make sure that you've got enough, and you don't want to use up all your. So it's one thing when you're a smaller seller, people will say exactly. People will say, "Oh, I'm just going to use up my I'm going to use my adjustments. I'll just use my adjustments. I've got some adjustments. I'll just use my adjustments." And so they think that's good, but it sets a precedent that now when the next time that person comes into your show and they're like, "Oh, but the shipping is still high, can you fix it?" Well, the only way to fix it is to cheat the system, which is wrong. And at the end of the day, you're just going to cheat yourself, because that customer is going to continue to and other customers are also going to see, "Oh, you'll adjust it for them, I guess you can adjust it for me too." And it's like it's a domino effect. Like you hit one and they all fall down, right? So best thing to do is to stick with custom shipping profiles as necessary, and making sure that you have your weights correct when you're shipping, when you're listing, so that when you ship, you don't have as many adjustments. Yeah, it's all good. It's all good when the red chat happens. It's usually not on purpose that the red chat happens. So that's how you do a custom shipping profile if you have something that's very cumbersome and big. One of the things too is if you're using Chit Chats is that there are size restrictions for Chit Chats, y'all. So make sure that you're also reading that, because you may need to do a custom shipping profile or not sell that item because it is too tall. Like if it's too big, if it's too tall, they won't allow it. So make sure that you check with Chit Chats and read up on Chit Chats. Now, Canada Post doesn't have as many restrictions. Whatnot system will basically tell you if you're too big, but you when you're using Chit Chats, there are maximum sizes for going down to the States. So again, you can't control where somebody lives when they purchase from you on Whatnot. So it is best always to plan ahead with Chit Chats, so you don't have to constantly message support because you can't create a Chit Chats label because your item is too big, right? It's better to just be proactive about that. Support's got enough to do, trust me. I think they do like 100,000 messages every week or something crazy, or maybe it's every day. It may feel like every day. So that's how you do your listings, is making sure that your weights are correct. It's super important. And if so, the best friend you can have is one of these. Actually, the best friend you can have is multiple ones of these that you can have everywhere around your house. I have multiples. This one is my particular favorite. This one is just an Amazon Basics one. You can get them from just about anywhere. Make sure that when you pick one that ideally you want to pick one that has a hold button or has some sort of hold feature, because when you've got a big box on top, trying to read the LCD screen, the LED screen, the LCD screen, whatever it is, I think it's LCD, is really hard unless you push the box slightly out of the way to read. But if you have it that it's got the hold feature, then it will stay. You lift the box off and it'll still show you what the item weighs. Some of them have different settings for that. You also want to make sure what's the maximum weight that it will carry. Some postal scales that you buy, some of the postal scales that you buy have a really low weight limit. So if you sell a lot of items, especially if you're in vintage decor and if you're a Canadian seller, people tend to buy a lot at once. They don't buy like one or two things. They tend to buy like 6 or 7 things because that way their shipping is cheaper. So I found that I had a scale that I got for cheap from an online auction, and it only went up to like 15 pounds. And trust me, most of my boxes are way over 15 pounds. So I put that one aside. I use that one for when I'm doing listings in a different room. This one goes up to 65 pounds. So make sure you check that. 65 pounds is probably as high as you're going to go in one box before you unbundle and put it into multiple boxes. So 65 pounds is a good weight. When you use the bathroom scale, I mean, you can use the bathroom scale. The only problem is that it doesn't give you down to the ounces, right? Like, or it may, but most bathroom scales don't tell you that this thing only weighs 3.3 ounces. So when you're doing, like, a bathroom scale is great when you're about to go on vacation and you need to check whether or not your luggage is over the 50-pound limit. But when it comes to shipping, invest in one of these. It's worth it to buy one of these. Again, this one's just an Amazon Basics one. There's all kinds of them out there. This is not like the best or most expensive one, but it's the one that it's one of the ones that I use. I have pink ones. I even got one that's like from Weight Watchers that I use, that's really thin, and I use that when I'm out and about traveling. I have a thin one. Yes, of course I do. I know. Everything. Okay, so creating your listing is really key, and having that. Also, when you create your listing, having any sort of measuring tape. There's all kinds of I don't know how many different measuring tapes I have surrounding me, but even something as simple as this, they can get dollar store. Something as simple as this will help you a lot, because you may think, I know what size that is. Do remember that for Canadian sellers, our base box is 15 centimeters by 15 centimeters by 15 centimeters. And I'll talk more about that. But if you have items that are on the larger side, and that's why, like this item, my test puppy that's 15 inches, I would give him a custom shipping profile, just because he's going to end up with an adjustment if I don't. And I try not to use up my adjustments if I can help it. Every once in a while it happens to me, but I try not to. All right, so you've created your listing. You've started your show. You've had your show. You sell some stuff. You know what, Libby's? It's either, I don't think that it's Blue Mountain Pottery. It's either Evangeline or McMaster. I haven't finished researching it. I think I'm just going to post it onto one of the groups, the Facebook groups that I'm on, and ask them, because they usually respond pretty quickly. Angela, Ashley, oh, it's 8:22. Oh, thank you. That was a great reminder there. All right, we're going to do the first Whatnot pennant. We're running the first Whatnot pennant. This is from Whatnot Sellers. So there you are. Whatnot pennant. Get in on this giveaway. I only have 3 to give away today. 3 this month, 3 next month. So do check that out. Okay, so back we go. So you've created your listing. You've got your stuff all set up. Whatnot Sellers sends me, I do these specific shows, and I'm part of a small group of sellers around the world who do seller chats, seller community shows. So yeah, if you want to start doing community shows multiple times a week, please someone else in Canada start doing chat shows, so your girl can not do so many. I mean, I could just not do so many, but then where are you going to find your answers? They're just going to tag me anyways or message me, so I might as well be available. Okay, so get in on the giveaway. It's free. It's a free pennant from a Whatnot pennant from Whatnot Sellers. So thank you to Whatnot Sellers. If you're not following Whatnot Sellers, you need to. Tomorrow, Whatnot Sellers is doing an awesome chat show, so you need to be following them anyways to go into their show tomorrow, and they do giveaways as well. I don't think they do give international giveaways anymore, so I don't know. I heard a rumor. Thank you, Border City Thrifts, Whatnot Sellers. Go follow them. Okay, so you've had your show, you made your sales. Now what? So you're first and foremost, you're going to go to seller.whatnot.com. which is the Seller Hub on any browser. Can you use your phone? Yes, absolutely. Do I recommend it? No, actually, because I think that there's just way more detail and information that you can get when you use, just go onto a browser. You can use your tablet, you can use a laptop, you can even, some phones will let you do it without bumping you right back into the Whatnot app. But you have to go and generate your shipping labels. So how do you do that? Well, you need to actually package up the stuff. So I was asked to show how I package up delicate things. And so here we go. I'm going to move things out of the way, and we're going to package up something delicate. We're going to package up this girl, and we're going to actually see if I'm right about the 1 to 2 pounds or not. So we're going to package up this girl and get her ready to go out the door to somebody, a fictitious somebody. All right. Now I have my Be Kind stickers that I'm using today. They say Be Kind on them. All right. Now, first thing that I do when I am selling, shipping out vintage decor, antiques, anything like that, is I always, now I learned this, and I wasn't always doing this. I learned this in the last few months, is that you should never put plastic up, like bubble wrap or foam wrap, right directly up against anything that's been painted or glazed, because the heat or the differences in temperature, can actually harm the plastic, can actually harm and pull away part of the paint or the glaze that's on there. So it is best to start with a layer of tissue paper. So that's what I do first. First and foremost, this girl has got a clanker. She's got a clacker. So I don't recommend selling bells because they are not always fun. Okay, so she's stuffed with paper. And now she's going to get two layers of tissue paper. That's first. So, and normally what I do is a little bit of tape, or in this case, I'm going to use my Be Kind stickers. Yes, wing support. So I'm putting this all around. Why? Because I want to make sure that the paint and the glaze is taken care of. And also, I also want to make sure that she is nice and protected. So next step is, and hang on, I forgot to open this up. Next step is some bubbles. Now, these are the bubbles I have today. They're Enviro bubbles. They're from U-Haul. You can actually buy online from U-Haul, and their prices aren't too bad in Canada. The prices aren't too bad, but oh, hang on. Stupidity doodah. There we go. And I do like these bubbles. Yes, Siegfried! Siegfried, you won the giveaway. Congratulations. Congratulations, a Whatnot pennant is coming to you. I have to find the end of this dang roll. There it is. Okay. Oh, dear Lord above. Okay. We got bubble wrap. So, I prefer the small bubbles for vintage decor, because the bigger bubbles don't have enough, they don't wrap around all the little shapes of items when you have the bigger bubbles. The bigger bubbles will seem like they're cheaper option, but in the end, if things break. So what I do is, and I usually do this pretty fast, so I'm doing this slow for you guys, is I measure the longest length, and I do 3 of the longest length. And then I wrap lengthwise. So hang on, let me see if I can show you this. Lengthwise, like so. Okay. I normally do this on a table. I don't do this in front of an audience, a studio audience. So that's 2 layers of bubble wrap right there. If this was a little bit more delicate, it would get more like 3 layers of bubble wrap. And then, for the love of all things holy. All right, and I'm gonna tape this up before I do the other wrap. So we got the sides on this. We're gonna push the sides in and under, and then we're gonna push the sides around. Now, I prefer, and this is just me, I prefer not to tape up bubble wrap too much. I'll use like some stickers or some small pieces of just regular Scotch style tape. And the reason for that, is that I want I want the bubble wrap to be reused. Also, oftentimes I've found that trying to get the item out of a taped up, like with packing, when people use packing tape to like tape the item up, I find that that can cause damage. Just trying to get it out of the tape can cause damage to the item inside, because you have to try and put pressure on it, or you start cutting, and that can also be dangerous. So yeah, so what I do instead is I will often use, especially if it's something like this where there's wings that I want to make sure that they're not too tightly, but that they're protected without, so that she doesn't shift in transit, is I have this. Now, here's the label for it. Hang on. Unfurl the thing for a second. So I buy this in bulk. It is basically, it's saran wrap. It's saran wrap. So what I do is I might do a light taping with some, I'm not today because I'm going to be taking this apart later because I didn't sell this. We are pretending I sold this. So I will wrap up, and this way her wings are going to get protected. She's not going to shift in transit inside her little cocoon. And then I always do this. Yes, pool noodles do work well for sure. So I always twist at the end, twist and shout. And then I usually put a little sticker or something so that you can find the end. Because the other thing is too, if you do this and you don't do this at the end, it is holy hell to try and find. It's like trying to, when the tape goes down and you haven't flipped it over and you're trying to find the end of the packing tape so you can keep packing. And it's like that, but it's worse because it's like saran wrap. So make sure, yes, I have been there. So make sure you make a little curly Q end and then put that on there. So it makes life so much easier. And then it's just, as Melody Cohn said, that she in one of her reviews, she said that she gets serotonin just from unwrapping my presents, because they're like presents. They're not presents. She gets serotonin from unwrapping because it's like unwrapping presents. Okay, and then we're not done yet. We're not done, because now little sweetie needs some more protection. So then I always wrap in just some good old-fashioned paper. If I don't have any of this available, I use newspaper, and I don't worry about newspaper because it's not directly onto her, right? So I'm not transferring any of the dirt, and from the printing, the print isn't going to transfer directly onto her. If anything, it might directly transfer onto my customer's fingers, but it's an environmentally responsible way. I currently have a lot of packing paper, and so I'm using up my packing paper. So I do 2 layers. I always do 2 layers, and I always, if I folded it and wrapped it this way, the next way I'm going to wrap it the other way, lengthwise, again, so that I can protect it. So it's getting 2 layers. I need another piece of, I need another thing. So she's getting a second layer. As you can see, she's getting her second layer, and this will go this way. And then sometimes I will use the saran wrap just to make my life easier. I'm just going to call it saran wrap. I don't know what else to call it. Make my life easier, and make sure you put the curly Q at the end so that your but purchaser can find the end of material, and I usually use a cute sticker. I get them for cheap. And there you go. She's all wrapped up. Yes. So let's weigh her now. Where is that? Okay, so she was 9.1. She was 9.1, so let's see what she is now. She is 12. She is 12 ounces now. But I'm not done, right? She needs a box. So we're gonna, hello, honey. We're gonna use this box, and I'm gonna teach you about I'm gonna teach you how to make a box fit better. So I'm gonna try this box first. Now, I spend a significant portion of my time trying to figure out whether or not a box is the right size. So if I put this in and there's wiggle room there, then that's perfect because I need that box. So as you can see, if I put her like this, she fits just in, but if you push against the side of the box, you're pushing into her, right? So if she wasn't super delicate, I would be okay with it like this. But today we're going to do it like she is made out of glass. So we're going to pretend she's made out of glass instead of the porcelain that she is. So first and foremost, you want to put some paper in the bottom. Hang on. Paper in the bottom. Paper around her. On all sides. And then paper all around her so that she doesn't move. What you want to be able to do is, so we're going to imagine that is perfectly done. It's not perfectly done. Normally this looks a lot prettier, but you make sure that the paper is all around, and that if you go like this, nothing is moving except the glasses that you hit the box. Okay, so we got her in there. Now this box is actually just the right size as it is. So I would weigh this and measure it, weigh it. I need to add my thank you note, and there's going to be a label. So we're going to use this label and pretend that is it. And then we're going to put that there. And it is now 1 pound, 2.7 ounces. So my 1 to 2 pounds is exactly what I should have done. So I was right. 1 to 2 pounds is what I needed to do because that's how much she weighs when she's all wrapped up. Ta-da! You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Once you get to know your stuff a little bit more, the more you ship on Whatnot, the more you get to know how much something's going to weigh after it's packaged. Always err on the side of caution so that you have extra. Again, the difference in price is not that much compared to your inability. Yes, Headhunter Junkie, I'm reusing a box. I reuse all my boxes, so I too am like you. I don't put fragile, which is Italian for fancy. I don't put that on the side of boxes. And if you didn't get that reference to Christmas Story, I'm sorry. So what machine do I use for my labels? I have just a Chinese made, bought off of Amazon thermal printer, and it works great. 4x6 labels, but you can also just use your regular printer and print your labels off that way too. You do not need to get a thermal printer. A thermal printer is a time saver for me. I love it, but you do not need to. Okay, so I want to show you how to resize boxes. I want to show you how to resize boxes. So let's say this thing is actually fits just right because of what she is and how she's already packaged. I could put her in like this with just a little bit of space. So I want to make this box smaller because, again, the smaller the box, the higher to God, the less adjustments you're going to need, because in Canada and the United States, dimensional shipping weight means the bigger the box, the more expensive it is, because it's about the size it's not just about weight, it's also about the size of the box. So size matters in Canada. It really does. Smaller is better. So what I want to do is figure out, where did I put my, oh, son of a nutcracker. Yeah, I've already put it down somewhere. Okay, we're gonna pretend I have my measuring tape still with me, which hasn't gone far, but you know me. I can't find anything unless it's like attached to me. So I'm gonna say that's about 3 inches down. I use my measuring tape. That's about 3 inches down. So I would measure to see how far down I need my box to go. And I'm going to show you how to do this. It is kind of cool. Now, you can purchase a box resizing tool. They're not that expensive. They're like $25. You can get them on Amazon, and Shipping Supplies, who was in here earlier, sells them as well. They're not very expensive, but you can use that too. And that's a little bit more, customer getting a yeah. A box resizer tool will be a lot faster than how I'm going to show you. Okay, so yeah, it's not in here. I just checked. So we're going to go down. I'm going to measure and say this is 3 inches down that we need to go. Yes, there you go. And Shipping Supply says we sell box resizers for $16. That's a great deal. 16 US. In Canada, that's like $150. I'm kidding. All right, so first and foremost, what you want to do is you want to measure. So I'm gonna do this very unsophisticated, but you would take a piece of, take some tape, and you would measure down 3 inches, and you would mark that. Okay, again, a box resizer tool will do a way better job than my pretending that I'm measuring right now. Okay, we're pretending that I'm using measuring tape because I don't know where I put it. So you got your marks. Okay, and then this is the sophisticated tool that I use. We have many of these because we like steak in my house. So we have lots of steak knives, and they're perfect because they're serrated edges. So I actually have stolen way too many steak knives because I also use them for cutting tape because I hate using those tape guns. I always cut myself on tape guns. So I use one of these as a tape gun. So what you want to do is you're gonna do a straight line. Now, if you need to, use a ruler because it can get wonky, but we're gonna pretend I'm using a ruler properly. And you just go across with your, you can hear that noise. That's the sound. That's the sound of Kim not doing a straight line, but imagine it is a straight line. Okay, and you do this on all 4 sides inside. You're going inside the box. My box resizer tool is downstairs buried under a bunch of boxes, and ain't nobody got time for me finding it, Sean. So, but I think it's important to know that you can do this without a box resizer tool. You will appreciate buying a box resizer tool after you've done this a few times this way, because you will appreciate having straight lines. Yeah, so you've gone all the way around. Again, it should be straight lines, not drunk lines, but we're going to pretend they're straight lines. And then you do this so you have to do it inside. Don't do it on the outside. Do it on the inside. And then you're going to take some scissors and you're going to cut down to that perforated line. Okay. Someone is going to get this box and it's probably going to be reshaped back to its original size, I'm guessing. Okay, so you cut on all 4 sides. Did we get that? We go around with our, oh wait, I didn't cut on all 4 sides. I stopped too early. Hey, so you cut on all 4 sides, and look at that. Look at the magic. And with the magic of, there we go, hang on. Hang on, wait for it. Bam! We have a smaller box. Again, if my thing was straight, it would look a lot prettier. But it looks all right on this side, sort of. It's a little wonky, but it's okay. So it went from this to that. Okay? Just like that. Isn't that special? I know your life is complete. Now you can take off some of the weights because you don't need all these flat pieces. You can take off some of the weights. I don't always do that. That is our next item that we are focusing on. What do you prefer? Craft mailers or poly or bubble mailers or standard? Ooh. I like them all. I like them all. Okay, so I went too deep here. So don't, I went too deep. I was talking to you guys and I went too deep here. So just ignore that. We do not get free USPS boxes in Canada. No. So we do a lot of this. Plus, these are also free. This came free with purchase from Whatnot. I got this box. So there you go. I'm using it. Yeah, I did go a little Lizzie Borden on that side. But that's all you need. So you just need a steak knife, some scissors, an imaginary tape, a ruler, and a marker or a pen or something. And you can resize your box to whatever size your little heart desires. So, also please note, see these things that are round? I just use regular tape and I use this to cut it with. Because I don't like tape guns because they owie me. I'm not They're designed, I think, for right-handed people, not left-handed people. Yeah, just a loose roll, multiple loose rolls. That yes, also I do lose them from time to time and then have to go on a hunt for them because I put them down somewhere. Please note, see these round things? If you're a Canadian, you cannot use these with Chit Chats. They don't like round. They only like square and rectangles. So do not sell anything that goes into one of these and ship it on Chit Chats. Hey, Pac-Man girl. Okay. I knew I had a reason why I had that there. Hello, hello. So now you know how to resize your boxes to make them, because again, the smaller the box, the closer to God. So if you can make your box smaller, hello, hello, welcome in everyone. Will I be there on Friday? I'm not going on Friday. I'm going to go Saturday morning. I'm going to leave here Saturday morning. So I'll be there by lunchtime on Saturday for the Toronto Sports Card Show. I'm going to the Toronto Sports Card Show. I'm going to be there for your art show. I will be there. Yes. You just need to remind me because you know how spacey I am. Salty Crew seasonings. That sounds really good. Tell us more. Okay. So we've done that. We've got that. So what do I need to do next? Now, again, your dumbass girl forgot to keep her. So we have to weigh this. So we've made it smaller. We weigh it. We're right. It's between 1 and 2 pounds. So we weigh it. We measure it. And then we put that information into the Seller Hub. So make seasoning small batch, easy cooking and grilling. It sounds so yummy. It sounds so yummy. So you want to, so as you can see, my box is a little wonky. Obviously this dip here is not the tallest point on the item. You want to measure from the tallest, like the highest amount. So I would weigh this, measure it, and I'd enter all of that information into my Seller Hub, and then I can hit save, and then I can generate my label, and bada bing, bada boom. Bada bing, bada boom, and you are fine. So, yeah. It turns out that if you are under the default dimensions, as long as all sides are less than 15 centimeters, or in the United States, 12 inches, and your weights do not need to be edited down, then you can just leave it as is. I do not recommend that. And why I don't recommend just hitting generate label is because if your package goes missing and you ask for it to be searched for, they're going to be looking for a 12-inch by 12-inch by 12-inch box that weighs 2 pounds instead of a 6-inch by 3-inch by 4-inch box that weighs 1 pound. So I highly recommend that you edit every time. Just make it a habit to put in the correct dimensions and weight every single time. All right, let's run another giveaway. Where's my phone? There it is. We're going to run another giveaway. We are going to do Let's do another pennant. Let's do another pennant. We're going to do pennant number 2. Pennant number 2. You confirmed with Canada Post with tracking. Sweet. Okay. So Whatnot pennant number 2, you're going to get one of these from Whatnot Sellers. Thank you so much for Whatnot Sellers. Whatnot Sellers has a show tomorrow at noon Eastern Standard Time, so do tune into that. There's always a really great chat show, and they have a fireside chat with a seller. And they talk about all things how to build your Whatnot business. So it's worth watching. Plus, they do lots of giveaways themselves. So get on the giveaway. It is absolutely free. You get this in the mail. No purchase necessary. Just enter the giveaway and it's yours to be had. If you're watching right now on YouTube and Twitch and you're interested in getting on this giveaway, the only way you're going to get in on this giveaway is if you come over to Whatnot. So go up to that QR code, smash in that QR code and come on over here and join Whatnot. You've got 4 minutes to come on over here. So Pac-Man Girl, sorry. So I thought you were talking about the Toronto Sports Card Show is this weekend. It's Thursday to Sunday, the 24th to the 27th at the International Center, which is technically in Mississauga on Airport Road, right by the Pearson International Airport. Whatnot is going to be there. And so I am going to go and say hi to everybody. And so if you want to hang out, I'll be there Saturday afternoon and evening and Sunday, I guess, until lunchtime. I don't know. I've never been to this Toronto Sports Card Show before, so I'm really looking forward to it. But don't worry, Pac-Man Girl. There'll be lots of opportunities for folks to meet up. We're trying to do as many times where folks can meet up. We're doing a really fun meetup at the Northumberland Vintage Show. We're hoping that we can do a booth there, and we're going to do a meetup there at the Toronto Vintage Show in September. It's not far from my house, so it's going to be a lot of fun to be close to home. Okay, so we've done this. We have done this. We have managed to do that. We have managed to make our box and make our box smaller. So I've showed you how to do that. I've showed you how to wrap things carefully. Now, if this was if she was glass or anything else that's highly breakable, I would put her in a box within a box. So it depends on the breakability factor of the item. If it's really delicate, you want to put it in a box. You want to wrap it just like I did, and then you want to put that box inside another box. So again, that adds extra weight on. So the more delicate an item is, it may weigh very little, but once you start adding on all that, all the weight of the packing materials, it can get quite heavy. So always keep that in mind. Okay, so you've made your sale, you've packed up your stuff. Now, what if you have multiple things that you're putting into one box, and how do you wrap carefully for that? One of the things a lot of people don't realize is that you should always put at the bottom of the box the heaviest items and the lighter items on the top, because they tend to not flip around the box too much. You want to make sure, again, if there is really heavy items in the box, that those are boxed up so that they're not going to shift too much during shipping, so that if the box does get tossed from one person to another, and there's a really I've sold an actual like iron, a big heavy iron, right? Like it's not that big, but it's heavy. So it's like 3 pounds all on its own, and that was shipped with a bunch of other things that if it moved, that could hurt other things. So I actually sequestered it in its own box, and then the items that surround it got extra padding all around that box that had the heavy item in it. And then all the other items were like mini boxed, if it makes sense. So that because Whatnot bundles things together, and unbundling will cost you an adjustment, you want to make sure that you're being as safe as possible. So super heavy items, either they go on their own. If they can't go on their own, then they should be boxed in a separate box and then put in the box with the other items, so that they don't shift as easily throughout the box, because the weight will shift. 18 seconds to go on the giveaway for the Whatnot pennant. Last chance to get in on the giveaway. We're going to be drawing that giveaway in just a few seconds, so make sure you're in on the giveaway. Okay. So, if for any reason you have any delays or issues, make sure that who's going to win? Who's going to win? Lavashelle, I saw you in the room. Hello. Vest Free, shut the front door. Vest Free, congratulations. That's coming to you. Congratulations. Yay. Okay. Hi, Lavashelle. I just saw your name. Like as the name scrolled, I was like picking up on names and I saw your name. Hello, hello. Yay. Congratulations. You're getting a Whatnot pennant. Yay. Okay. So you've packed your stuff up. You've got your label printed. It's kind of weird because they say step 3 is make that sale and it says print your shipping label. But you should actually pack it up first, Whatnot. It says, see here, step 3, make that sale. Print your shipping label. But then right down here, step 4, pack it up. No. Print the shipping label after you pack it up. Dear Whatnot, you're in the wrong order. So if you're going to have any delays, make sure that you inform your buyer. Very simple. Just send them a quick message saying, hey, just want to let you know my car wouldn't start and so I can't get to the post office until tomorrow. Or my daughter just went into the hospital. Whatever. Just let them know if there is going to be any sort of shipping delay. You should always ship your items out within 2 business days. Now that's business days. So if you sell on a Friday, you got part of Friday, Monday, Tuesday to ship out. For example, this weekend was a long weekend. So the post office was closed on Friday in Canada. The post office closed on Friday and on the holiday Monday as well. So we wouldn't be able to drop anything off anyways until Tuesday, even if we sold something on Thursday. Vestry says, I packed it first before I generate label, just in case weight needs adjustment. Yeah, unless I do flat rate. Yeah, which fortunately in Canada, we don't have to deal with flat rate. So we talked about how to package up correctly. And then you need to make sure you drop it off. Now, if you use Chit Chats as a Canadian seller, if you use Chit Chats instead of Canada Post, even if it prints out with what looks like just a Canada Post label, that's a Chit Chats label, and it still needs to be dropped off at the Chit Chats location. Chit Chats will then take it to the provincial hub for your area, and it will go to Canada Post from there. So you do not drop that off at your local Canada Post. If you've selected Chit Chats as your shipping provider, then that label that may say Canada Post on it does go to Chit Chats. And that's pretty much it. Yeah, the clock starts on your show. So if I started on a Monday and didn't, the clock actually starts when you sell the item, I've noticed. But they are making some adjustments to that clock setting that you see when it says you have 48 hours to ship this item. They are making some adjustments to that. I heard that today. So I wouldn't worry too much about the countdown clock that you see, because it's not always, there needs to be some tweaking there. Hi, Cassandra. So definitely what you want to do is just concentrate on getting things out as quickly as possible. Some people pride themselves on like same day delivery. That is not me. Same day shipping, I should say. Delivery is a different thing, but same day shipping, that's not my thing. Don't expect that from me. The end. Okay, so you have you can, just a reminder that if you're going to be shipping out, make sure that you get your dimensions and weight correctly, so that that you don't have any problems when you get to Canada Post. Or if you're using Chit Chats, folks, if you're a Canadian seller using Chit Chats and your weights are incorrect, they're not gonna like just extra charge you. It's like super extra charges they add on. And I don't know what their agreement is with Whatnot, but it's going to end up coming back on you. So make sure that you're correct with your weights and your measurements, because they do double check. They do check. I've noticed it'll say they've checked the weights. Same with sendals. Yeah, I have found that Chit Chats is slower for my Canadian customers, faster for my US customers, but definitely slower for my Canadian customers. And I just switch back to Canada Post because it's more convenient for me. It's a minute. It's a minute from me as opposed to 35 minutes from me. I don't need to have to rearrange my entire schedule just to get to the Chit Chats location because it's 35 minutes each way. So you can just imagine that's a lot of time out of my day, especially when it's like a lot of gas too. I was spending $70 in gas alone. I'm sure it's cheaper now that the carbon tax is off, but still, $70 a week on gas just to drive to the Chit Chats location. It's a lot of money spent. So, not doing that anymore. But that's totally up to you. However you want to do it. If you want to do Chit Chats or Canada Post, it's totally up to you. There are pluses and minuses for both. 119 here for gas. I think it's about the same. Okay, so you've accessed your orders in the seller hub. You've done all that work. If you need to make an adjustment, just a reminder that if you do have a box that your weight wasn't correct or it's going to be bigger than, just remember, so the 15 centimeter by 15 centimeter by 15 centimeter default tends to be important on if you're doing all lightweight items. So if you're doing a package and it's all a bunch of little lightweight items, and it needs to go into a bigger box than just a 15 centimeter by 15 centimeter, which is just under 6 inches square, you probably will need to use a shipping adjustment. So just be careful if you are selling items. So I have I don't know if it's in my buy it now tonight, but I have in my inventory a bumper sticker that's quite big. It's like this big. And it says I love thrifting. Now, whenever I send that out, I have to use a shipping adjustment because the weight is low. Yes, that one. The weight is low, but the size is big, right? So even though I put it in a thin protective envelope, it's a cardboard envelope. I put it in there, but it still is bigger. One side of it is bigger than 15 centimeters. So I end up using a shipping adjustment every time. So I probably need to increase my weight and that would solve that problem. But right now I haven't done that. I should probably try that and see if that works. Smart bundling. Oh no, I'm sorry you had to pay out of pocket. I'm just about to have your first show, so I want as much shipping wiggle room as possible. If I sell on Friday, I can ship on Tuesday. Yes. Yeah. As long as you are dropping off on Tuesday, you should be okay. If you just remember too that if you sell on Friday during the day and you end at say noon, then you've got till Tuesday noon, really. As opposed if you end at Friday noon. So if you're doing like till Friday night, then it's the clock starts when you end your show. And that's when they have an expectation that within 2 to 48 business hours you're going to have that completed. But again, weekends do not currently count. But ideally, if you can ship over the weekend, that's great, and then you just drop off on a Monday or Tuesday. Okay. Yes. It is confusing, Libby's, especially with like I mean, if you use Chit Chat, if you're in Canada and use Chit Chats isn't open. A lot of the drop-off locations are not open on weekends. And like the drop-off location that was closest to me was only open Monday through Friday, 12 noon to 5 p.m., which is also a pain in the butt. You're in California, so you're lucky. You've got even like local pickup with USPS and stuff. You're spoiled. Americans don't realize how spoiled they are. All right, let's do another giveaway. We are going to do this another local soap. This is sponsored by our friend Fairbid. Thank you to Fairbid. This is Our 2 Acres Dragon's Blood. Yeah, but not everybody can get the Canada Post pickup. It depends on where you live. So this is a warm and spicy dragon's blood. There's no actual blood in this, by the way. It's made locally, and you also get this cool soap saver to go with it that makes your soap last longer. So you're going to get both. So that is running now. Get in on that giveaway. Okay, so that is running now. Yep, that's running. Okay, good. So, smart bundling and unbundling. A lot of people don't understand about how smart bundling and unbundling works. When you're a Canadian seller, the smart bundling is everything a person purchases in a show is going to get bundled into one box. That's the extent of the it's basically it's bundling. We won't call it smart or not smart. It is all bundled. Everything somebody purchases in a show is bundled into one box. You can then, so if you do a vintage decor show, like I've done a vintage decor show and someone has bought like 30 items, I will unbundle into 2 boxes and sometimes 3 boxes. That will use up one of my adjustments. It will absolutely use up one of your adjustments, but it is sometimes necessary to do because there is no way that you can find a box big enough to fit all those items in unless they're all small items. But if somebody buys a lot of vintage decor off of you and you need 2 big boxes, then use 2 big boxes. Don't try to overstuff a box with items just to try and get in that to avoid using up a shipping adjustment. Use your shipping adjustments when you need to. It's important to do so. If you're in the States, smart bundling works a little bit differently. And again, if you read my show notes, I have a list of people that I suggest that you go and follow and watch their videos because they explain things a lot better than I can, because my experience in shipping in the United States is 0. So don't take my advice when it comes to that stuff. But for Canadians who are selling, basically everything bundles into one big bundle. I've never had a show yet where Whatnot unbundled and put things into 2 boxes. I've never had it yet. Tomorrow could be the day. Who knows? So they do have an option for you to use their bulk generate labels option, and you can also email yourself labels to print off. This is helpful if, say, you're doing things in one room and your printer is in another room. That's great for that. I do not recommend for newer sellers that you use bulk generate labels because you want to make sure that your dimensions and your weights are correct. And bulk generate labels will just give you the default and is very unhelpful because then you've got to go in and edit and regenerate labels. So I don't recommend that you use bulk generate labels if you're a newer seller. Get used to the system and get used to entering in the dimensions and weight. The more often you sell on Whatnot, the faster you're going to get. And if you're shipping with Canada Post, can I use the flat rate boxes? You can, if you're no, you can't use Canada Post flat rate boxes because that you've paid for unless you mean, can I use USPS flat rate boxes that you've received from someone else? If it's shipping within Canada, I do that. If it's shipping to the United States, don't you reuse a USPS shipping box. But don't use Canada Post flat rate boxes because you paid for that already. So then you're wasting your money because you're not going to get your money back if you ship with a Whatnot label. Country Roads with Michelle says, is there a way to see how many adjustments you have left? It used to pop up. Now I don't know. So I assume you're using your phone to do that. I never use my phone for shipping. I always go to seller.whatnot.com. And when you go to edit there, it will actually say to you how many, when you edit a shipment and you put in your weights and dimensions, it will actually say how many shipping adjustments you have left right there at the bottom. It'll be on the right-hand side. So I always recommend going to seller.whatnot.com to do all my final. So what I'll do is I'll have a piece of paper and I'll write down each of the people that that have like it'll be something as messy as this, like just like this one. And I will just write down, on each person's list. Um, it was that way last time I shipped, so it should still be there. But if you don't see it, message support to let them know. Your postal code can be assigned to the system for a Canada Post pickup. You have to request it. It will take a few days. Again, it depends on where you live, Pac-Man girl. Not everyone. Pickles! Pickles, you won the giveaway. Congratulations. That's coming to you. Congratulations. You're getting that. Okay. It's 9:09. It's 9:09, y'all. We've talked about canceling. I know. I just did my shipping and it was there. I used my laptop and it was 4 out of 5 showing. Okay, so it might be it's not Whatnot, it's you. No, just kidding. Country Roads with Michelle. I would message them to let them know that you're not seeing that because it should show up for you. It definitely should show up for you. All right. Let me just look at these giveaways again. I don't know why. There we go. Giveaway. Yes, okay. There's one more giveaway left. So I'm going to run that in like 3 minutes ish. So there is, yeah, that's it. So any questions related to shipping? There is on the shipping 101 options, there is a little section about US shipping at the very end. There's US shipping options information. But I'm shipping. I see adjustments on your phone. There you go. So again, it must be you, Country Roads with Michelle. If it's not showing you, unless you've already used up all your, if you've used up, then it'll say that you have 0 out of 5 available, or it'll probably say you have 0 out of 5 left. Yeah, you hardly use them, so definitely email them. There's something wrong there. They reset like basically Sunday evening. So I can't remember the exact time, but if you look at help.whatnot.com, it will tell you the exact time. But I just kind of go with the mindset of Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening, it's going to reset. So I try to do all my shipping before then so that if I have to do any extras and I need extra adjustments, I can use them. So there are people who do their shipping. They do their shows on like a Thursday or a Friday so that they can they have that extra wiggle room of having 2 weeks worth if they need to. I don't recommend doing that. I think the best thing that you can do is to try and avoid adjustments at all costs, especially if you are planning on scaling up your Whatnot business. If you're planning on scaling up your Whatnot business, you want to try avoid now not having very many shipping adjustments that you use, so that when you're bigger, you're already going to be in a place where you can you're not going to be using, because the bigger you get, the more likely it is that you're going to need shipping adjustments every once in a while when you have like a lot of orders, right? But if you get into a habit now of doing good shipping practices so that you don't have as many shipping adjustments, and the best shipping practices are custom shipping profiles when you've got big items, and making sure that you add on extra weight to your items so that they are reflective of how much they're going to be when they are shipped, not what they are now. I think that's the thing where most people make a lot of mistakes. Gwen's Vintage says, I see a lot of build your own vignette shows now. How do people know what shipping weight to use when they don't know the combination of items? Ooh, that's a good question. I think they probably go with like a flat weight. Like if so is it like build like a box of stuff, and then I would say that I would do like what the heaviest is that I think it could possibly be, and that would be the weight that I put for everything, just to be on the safe side. That's probably what I would do. They get to choose like 6 or 7 items together. Yeah, so the best I think probably the best way to do that would be to look at what is the average weight of all the items, and that'll add a little bit extra on, because Murphy's Law is if there's 6 or 7 items that a person can select, somebody's going to pick 6 or 7 heavy items, right? So if the average weight of the items is between 1 to 2 pounds total, then I would stick with 1 to 2 pounds. Yeah, I mean, if it's like build your own vignette and they get to pick from there. 501 Finds is rating with a party of 7. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome in. Thanks so much for joining. 501 Finds, feel free to share your shows and tell us what you got going on. Welcome in, everyone. Please follow 501 Finds. Yeah, eventually you do get much better at estimating, but I always recommend having a scale near you. It was their first show. Yes, congratulations, 501 Finds, your first raid. I'm so honored. Oh my gosh. Well, good news. We're about to do a giveaway, so we will run it now. There we go. It is for a Whatnot pennant. So get in on that giveaway. This is the last giveaway of the night. So good timing, 501 Finds. Tell us about your first show. Tell us about what you sell. And congratulations. Welcome to Whatnot. Welcome to the fun of Whatnot. This is the time of night where last chance for sharing your shows. Tell us where you're from and what you sell so everybody can follow everybody else. And also, tell us about any shows you have coming up. And if you do have any questions, Sunflower Gems, what do you need help with? If it's US shipping, I'm not your gal because I'm Canadian. So, but if in general, you can ask about shipping and I will try to answer. And also if you look in the show notes, which I think are somewhere over here, I have a list of my favorite Americans to go to for shipping information, and also DArkfist and the Hodgepodge Place. In my notes, they have really amazing YouTube videos that they've done that will walk you through it in a way that I can never do. Because I have no way of doing US shipping. So I'm not very good at it. But Sunflower Gems, if you have any questions, let me know. But yes, Bev Tay says, congratulations on your first show. It's very exciting to do your first show. 501 Finds says, I was so nerve-wracked. We did a cottage core show for our first one. So much fun. We collect all kinds of things. We will do our next show is MCM 70s show. That's so much fun. Hi, Sunflower Gems. I sell live vintage. I have show Friday morning at a vintage warehouse. That sounds like so much fun, Sunflower Gems. And the Quaint Quail. I love that name. I'm from New Jersey and I sell vintage glassware, bakeware, salt and pepper shakers, etc. And your second show is on Monday. Congratulations. Welcome to Whatnot, y'all. Look at all these new people. Peaches Vintage. I love that name. I'm from Central Florida. I sell vintage glass and china. I love it. I'm from Central Florida. Such a pretty part of the world. All right. So feel free to share who you are, where you're from, and what you sell. And we've got 2 minutes on this giveaway, which is for this Whatnot pennant, the last one of tonight. And then I will be having another show in May. I think I saw what the topic is for May. I just have to schedule my show. But May, our topic is going to be selling formats and pricing strategies. Selling formats and pricing strategies. So we're going to be talking about different ways of doing auction, how to use flash sales. Do you do dollar starts? Don't you do dollar starts? What should you do giveaways? Shouldn't you do giveaways? Etc. Etc. So that's going to be fun next month. Pac-Man Girl says, my first show is May 21st. Yay! Hello Kitty, Disney bags, figures, and lots of characters. That's so exciting. Lester and Loom says, if anyone likes vintage marbles, I'm doing a show on May 16th. And also I'm doing my first costume jewelry show with some silver items on May 30th. That's awesome. Union Creek by Jen. Hi, I'm in Michigan. My next show is Thursday night. I love it all, but sell a lot of glassware, milk glass, farmhouse, and granny core, a big old variety. I love it. And I love your name. The Quaint Quail says, anyone have a situation where you log on with 2 devices, but you can only run auctions on the second one? That was my worst glitch in the first show. I have had that happen. Yes, it shouldn't happen. So definitely message Whatnot to let them know. It could have been did you update on both phones? I always before show will update on both phones.
And Peaches Vintage says, I have that problem, just emailed support for it. That's good to know. Veskfree says, I'm from everywhere. I sell anything I can legally put my hands on. And also I'm a crafter, and you're not a mediocre artist. You're a wonderful artist. Bookmark me because we're moving. Oh my gosh, Veskfree. It's already moving time. Second was on the computer. Yeah, so your computer, I always say have two devices ideally, a computer and a phone, or two different phones. I have an iPhone that I'm talking to you on, and I'm also on my Android device. So we give chances says, I'm Cheryl from Newfoundland, and I have my first show scheduled. I sell a variety of things. That's so exciting. Okay, 10 more seconds on this giveaway for the Whatnot pennant. The Whatnot pennant right back there. It's the last one of the night. 2 seconds. Who's going to win? Doodaloo, doodaloo, doodaloo. Let's see. Who's going to win? Who's going to win? Shauna! Shauna's Treasures in Art. Congratulations. Artificial Inor. You're going to have to tell me how to say that. Hello, welcome in. Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for rating. Everyone, please follow. Let me see if I can message. There we go. Send. Everyone follow. Artificial Inor. I think I said that right. And congratulations, Shauna, on winning. Artificial Lenore. Oh, I see. I see it now. I don't know why I didn't see the Lenore. Hello, Lenore. Welcome in. Thank you so much for the raid. Tell us about what you sell and where you're from. And yay, yes, thank you to Whatnot sellers for that giveaway. And thank you also to Fairbid, who sponsored these 2 other giveaways. I appreciate you so much. You are so sweet. And thank you again. Their first show today. So many first shows. So excited. Okay, so everyone put out your emojis if you're a seller so we can follow each other. And Lenore is from Tennessee, selling vintage decor. Thank you so much. We're gonna be raiding into someone now. Look at all these awesome Mimi's Memories, Shauna's Treasures in Art. Put up your emojis if you're a seller so everyone can follow you. It's the easiest way. You don't have to introduce yourself. Just put some emojis on the screen. Mikasa Vintage, Angie's This and That, Lester and Loom. All right, I'm going to check who we're going to raid into. Minimize show. Who are we going to raid into? The Quaint Quail, Pac-Man Girl. Hey, Biggie21. Artificial Lenore. Country Roads with Michelle. C. Dunlop. Oh my gosh, look at all these wonderful people in the house. Let's see. Who do we have up right now in community? Oh, we're going to go into the Sassy Vintage Chick next. We're going to go right into the Sassy Vintage Chick. All right. And ignore my test puppy below. That reminds me. I'm on I'm usually not on Tuesday nights. So, oh my gosh, look at all these awesome emojis. I'm not usually on Tuesday nights. I'm usually on Monday to Saturdays, first thing in the morning, like 9:30, first thing for me, 9:35 a.m. until we're done. Oh, thank you so much for buying the gift. Thank you so much, Shauna. I'm on in the morning, so if you want to come in and say hi, introduce yourself, or ask questions, feel free to. And then Dee, I was about to go into Sassy, unless you have another suggestion for me, love. Oh my gosh, never mind. Shut the front door. I was about to go into you. Hey. Fine, I will stay on now. Where's my tattoo? I had to wipe it off. It started running and it didn't completely. Yeah, sorry. That's what. Hang on. Let me do a giveaway. Let me find something to. Please hold. Now this is the thing to learn about shipping. Weigh your forking items. Weigh your items. There. You're welcome. Hang on. Weigh your items, okay? Weigh your items. Weigh your forking items. Add weight on. We're send. And an account for the box. That's right. We did an experiment. We did experiment. We weighed this. This in here is a bell. And we weighed it, and it was 9.1 ounces. And I said it's going to be in 1 to 2 pounds. And we wrapped it, and we boxed it, and we did all of this, and we did all of this. We made the box smaller and everything, and then we weighed it, and it was 1 pound, 2.7 ounces. Oh, Sandra, I'm in Canada, so we don't have to worry about your crazy flat rate this and priority that and ground advantage this and blah 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 blah. We don't have to worry about that. Here's what I know. I feel like I'm drunk now. Here's what I know. One, I had a knife. I did have a knife, yes, which is how I resize my boxes. So you're moving to Canada. So in Canada, all you need to do is put it in a damn box, weigh it, measure it, and then put the label on. Oh, Shauna, look at you buying all the cute little things. Bill Y, the oddity guy. What's up, Bill Y, the oddity guy? Okay. Oh, wait. I was going to do a giveaway. Pork, I got distracted. This is all your fault, Sassy. I have things here. Hang on. Oh, my God. I was not planning on this. All right, fine. You're going to get a sticker sheet of Canadian flags. That's right. No. If you go to help.whatnot.com, and you're also going to get, it's still in the pack. See, this is lip balm, unisex lip balm from our 2 acres, which is made just down the road. So you're going to get a Canadian flag stickers, and you're going to get some lip balm made from down the road. Now I have to add it. Oh, God. Okay. Create a temporary listing. We're going to put it under other home and garden. Giveaway. It's all Sassy's fault. Giveaway. Shipping profile is going to be, where's the forking shipping profile? There it is. Please hold. Somebody will be with you shortly. Thank you for calling the Home Depot Canada. All our associates are currently assisting other customers. If this was a real emergency, you could go to another show. Here we go. Giveaway. Give it away, give it away, give it away. Yeah. All right, I'm giving it away. You get flags. They're vinyl. It may not be this exact one. It may be a different one, but it's going to be the same thing. And then you're also going to get our 2 acres lip balm. It's naturally scented. There's no added scent to it, and it's unisex. It's not boy-y or girly. It's in betweeny. You're going to get that. Okay, there you go. All right. I don't know if I'm live on YouTube. I don't know. I was having technical challenges, so I have no idea if I'm live on YouTube. I could be live on YouTube, but we're not going to go and read the comments. Did I change my name? No, I didn't change my name yet. Let's see. View channel. Oh, it says I'm live. So yes, I'm live. I'm still live on YouTube. Yes. Hello, YouTube. How you doing? I do not read the comments because there are some very strange, do not read the comments. There are some very strange people on YouTube. Y'all need to get some lives, or come on over to Whatnot so you can get red chatted here instead. I just leave them. Please note, I do not look at the I don't look at the comments. They're usually asking about my feet. This is the basic thing that I'm aware of. And one day I kept saying boobs because I was talking about how you can use red chat to like secretly communicate with sellers. If you need to tell them something like they have spinach in their teeth or their flies undone, you can use the secret word of boobs. And YouTube thought that was like hilarious. They absolutely loved that. I swear to God, like every 11-year-old boy was in my room just like, oh no, Buzz and BB. Yes, you're on a laptop. Sad face. It only works on the app. I'm so sorry. Raid into House of Vintage. Yes, first show from Canada, and they'll be coming in a few minutes. Oh, yes, we should raid into them then. Okay, we're gonna be running this giveaway, and then we can raid We can raid into them, right? Not the other way around. I hope. Because your phone is dead. You still want to learn though. Okay, well, most of the learning is done here today because I'm just basically going to tell you to go to help.whatnot.com if you're in doubt. Because you can go on to a bunch of seller chats, and there are lots of seller chats. Not all of them are created equal. And the most important thing that you need to do is to learn how to find out the answers yourself as well, because people will say poop and it's not always correct. So always verify before you make changes to your own personal business. Verify the information first. You wouldn't go and onto, or maybe you are the type of person, but maybe you shouldn't be that type of person who goes to Reddit or Facebook and asks them to, yes, we're going to eat bugs soon. We are. Thank you, Dee, thank you so much for the tip. I love you. If you're the type of person that goes onto Facebook or Reddit to ask for tax advice, help.whatnot.com. I was going to write it on my forehead. I'm not going to, the only Sharpie I have available right now would really leave a mark forever. Thank you, Dee. Help.whatnot.com. Everyone follow Dee, Archivist, and the sassy vintage chick who rated into me, who I love dearly. She's my favorite Yellow Rose of Texas that's in Jersey, Yellow Rose of Jersey, who's in Texas, I mean. And seller.whatnot.com has all the tutorials. Seller Academy. If you look at my show notes, if you go to my show notes and you scroll all the way down to the bottom, my show notes are copious. I get paid by the word. I don't get paid. But if I did, I would make $1 million. So scroll all the way down to the bottom and you will see all the links for everywhere. My YouTube is the Red Rooster Shoppy. That's the best way to say it. The Red Rooster Shop. I know I need to change it to something better, but your girl, look at my ridiculous face. That's the thumbnail. Look at my ridiculous face. Why does YouTube do that to me every single time? Yeah, there's so many people willing to help others on Whatnot, which is awesome. But again, you need to help yourself by finding out the information. So, oh, I love you, Mikasa Vintage. Okay, who are we rating into again? House of something. Dear Lord above, I don't even remember now. 12 seconds to get in on the giveaway for the lip balm and some Canadian stickers because your girl desperately couldn't find what she actually wanted. So you get the lip balm is not used. Honest. Okay, here we go. Who's gonna win? Who's gonna win? House of Vintage Shop. Sandra, congratulations. That's coming to you. Congratulations. Okay, everyone put out your emojis to prove that if you're a seller or you want to get follows, even if you're not a seller, put out your emojis. Congratulations, Sandra. Put out your emojis. This takes me a while to type this in. So you guys talk amongst yourselves because it takes me forever with my fat fingers to type in. Well, we're going to find out the hard way. House of Vintage. Let's see if it comes up. I can't even spell. Oh, yes, thank you. And a reminder. Thank you, Angie's. The reminder that there are lots of raid trains that you can join. If you run a raid train, let people know now that you run raid trains so they can message you. I run raid trains, and Angie's and that is starting a raid train that is going to be for family fashion. So if you're a fashion seller for men's, women's, kids, if you sell clothing, basically, if you sell clothing, then contact Angie's This and That. She's doing her very first monthly raid train, and it's going to be once a month, the third Sunday of every month. So, all right, let's see. Raid into, no, they're not on anymore. House of Vintage is not on anymore. Sad face. Let's see who's up. Who else is up? Followed house. Who do we have who's Canadian? Stamp Pickers is on. We can go into Stamp Pickers. It's not his first show though, but Stamp Pickers is on and is always a good time. And oh wait, how's today at 9:30? Oh, they're not on yet. Hang on. It does say my first show, so we're just waiting for the host. So we can double H dad. We're waiting for the host. We'll give them a couple of minutes. We'll give House of Vintage a couple of minutes. House of Vintage shop, because they are. It does say that they were going to start at 9:30, so we will give them 2 more minutes. So feel free to share your shows. Ruda is on. Okay. We're going to give them 2 more minutes to see if they come on, because it is their very first show. So it would be fun to pop in and say hi to their very first show. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask your questions. Oopsie daisy, you just unlocked egg. Unfortunately, you cannot currently use any of your coupons because they haven't fixed that yet. Nice to meet you too, Lost Mermaid Gifts. Me Casa Vintage has a 7K show Friday bookmark. Oh, congratulations on 7K. That's so exciting. Yay. That's a big freaking deal. Okay, she doesn't seem to be coming on. So you said Ruda, right? Search. Suggestions on last painting. I love suggestions. Ooh. Pac-Man Girl is looking for suggestions for paintings. She did an amazing painting of me. I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to buy it. Sandra says Wednesday the 30th at noon, trying to get to 1K followers. Congratulations. That is exciting. It's always fun to try and get to like that next step, isn't it? Vintage Goods by Ruda. Oh, I can't even spell today. All right. Thank you, Absolute Flipping Deals. All right, we're going to go do that. We're going to go into Vintage Goods by Ruda. Hopefully she's still on. Yeah, so any suggestions for what Pac-Man Girl should paint next? Country Roads with Michelle is having her first 1-year anniversary show May 1st. Fabric, patterns, and giveaways. Congratulations. Is it only been a year? Congratulations. Oh my gosh. Do sugar plums. I can't type. Vintage. There she is. Okay. So Liberty as a mermaid. Oh, I like that idea. Lady Liberty is a mermaid. Oopsie Daisy says with a daisy. Add a daisy. Maybe instead of flames, she has daisies. Lady Liberty as a mermaid. That is so cool. I like that idea. An orange baboon. The 7 points are set. The 4, 7. Oh, that's a great idea. Look at that, Lost Mermaid. You're so brilliant. All right, we're gonna go into Vintage Goods by Ruda. Thanks, guys, for hanging out. I love you guys so much. Thank you for all the raids. I love you guys totally. I cannot express how much I love all of you. Thank you so much for all the raids. Normally, I don't do Tuesday nights, but maybe I should. No, actually, no, because normally this is the night when I silently watch Sassy. All right, I love you guys so much. Have a great night. I will see you tomorrow morning. Yeah, I'll see you tomorrow morning. So love you. Let's go and let's put a whole bunch of emojis in the chat. Whatever emoji you want. Let's spam poor Ruda with emojis. Good night.